some of these countries are actually encouraging
JD
prisoners.
Vance appeared on the Diary of the CEO podcast, and he was asked a question about the statements which Donald Trump made in 2015 about some countries like Mexico sending individuals into the United States who were murderers and rapists. The response of JD Vance, I believe, is one thing. He didn't genuinely answer that question. And one of the reasons why I believe was so challenging for him to respond to that question because he understands that Donald Trump is a racist and you can't defend him. If you are interested in this kind of videos, just go ahead, subscribe, like, and also don't forget to share. So we need to understand that the United States of America, there are a lot of issues which are facing the country. And one of those issues is immigration. Most individuals, more especially from the Republican Party, have been using that problem in order to continue their agendas, to progress what they believe in. But in the real sense, they are trying to use what most individuals believe is the problem to advance their own objectives. In the real sense, they are ignoring what is facing most Americans. Observe this video clip and then I am going to give my own thoughts concerning the issue.
One thing I'd say just about anything that I've ever heard the president say that's then refracted through the lens of social media or non-social media is very often what he is accused of saying he didn't say it, or he said it in a totally different way, or there was much greater context. So I remember, for example, I remember back in 2016 or 2015, whenever he said this, sort of being like offended at the rapists and murderers line. Yeah. And then I went and looked at what he said, and what he said, which is actually true, is that some of these countries are actually encouraging prisoners to come into the United States of America. Does that mean that every person comes into America as a rapist or a murderer or as a prisoner? No, it doesn't. But he didn't say that. Right. So again, this goes back to the point about being charitable. Is I do try to understand fundamentally, like, why did a person say that? What are they actually thinking? What are they trying to get across? And again, if you disagree with that, that's fine.
After observing this response, I was left with a lot of questions. And one of the questions which I was left with is this one. Let's use an hypothetical example. Let's say you decide to adopt a kid whose parents were so abusive to him. How could you expect this kid to behave? More especially after realizing that from where he came from, it was hell. I believe if you are an ordinary, normal human being, if this kid, you observe that he is a decent human being too, or he is likely to be a decent human being, I believe this kid is going to behave well, even compared to your own biological kids. And that's exactly what is happening when it comes to the whole issue of immigrants in the United States. Most immigrants who are moving into the United States are coming from those countries which are oppressive. And most of these individuals have decided to move into the United States to seek maybe green pastures. What I am trying not to say is that all those individuals who are migrating into the United States are all angels. I believe there are bad apples, and in any given society, you will never lack those individuals. But also, there's another problem which most individuals tend to ignore. From where these people are moving from, who are the primary individuals who are leading to their misery? And I believe, in one way or another, the United States of America must be involved. Whether it's in South America or in the Middle East, in one way or another, the United States hand must be somewhere. So, despite the United States crying all over the world that different countries are sending them bad individuals who have no morals, the United States forgets that most of the problems which these individuals are trying to escape are due to the United States of America. You may say that those countries have dictators or those countries don't have democracy in place. If you dig deeper, you will understand that most of these dictators are probed by the United States. As long as they are serving the interests of the United States, these individuals are in good posture. But once they have decided to go against the interests of the United States, that's when the United States decides to go and call them they are dictators. Now let's go back to the old issue of immigration. So when Donald Trump came out in 2015 and said that the likes of Mexico, they are sending bad individuals into the United States, that's a complete lie. Most of the criminal activities which are done in the United States, there are high chances that those individuals who are committing these crimes are the natives of the United States or second born generation of the migrants into the United States, which means individuals who are United citizens by birth are likely going to commit more crimes compared to individuals who move to the United States, which I believe is a common example or a common observation which even an ordinary person can just say without going ahead and doing some research or some studies concerning the whole issue. Because these individuals migrating into the United States, they understand their place. They are not likely going to put themselves in situations where they are likely going to be deported within a short period of time. This is not their home and they are trying to find nice pasture in order maybe to send some money back at home or try to build their life in the United States. If there's one thing which I want you also to get out of this video is that I am not advocating for the United States to have open borders. I understand there's a need for every country to have closed borders and it should allow those people who they are interested with or in. Or maybe there are those people who have genuine reasons why they need to move into the United States. Maybe the United States has gone ahead and incited a coup in their native country, whichever they may have at place. So this whole issue of trying to drive race as the main objective, as the main cause of the problems which the United States people face, I believe it's a lie. And J.D. Vance tried to push this narrative that individuals in the United States, they need also to be satisfied first with the job opportunities which are available in the United States before migrants are allowed to do those jobs. But this is a lie which most Americans need to observe with a critical eye. Why am I trying to say this? The United States corporations, they are the ones who decided to send their jobs overseas, whether it is in China, Africa, Europe, whichever place. And what was the main reason why they decided to do that? It is because in those countries which they are moving to, the labor is available at a cheaper price. If they were so patriotic, they were interested in elevating the people of the United States, I believe they would not have moved those jobs overseas. I have maybe come across a video which Steve Jobs was talking about the individuals in the United States of America, they should forget about jobs which were exported out of the country coming into the United States. That is something which was of the past and they should forget about that idea. So, J.D. Vance was unable to defend Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a racist. He is an individual who is not interested in other foreigners, maybe Arabs, Muslims, Africans, whichever person, to come into the United States. That's why he rejected a referee who was chosen by FIFA in the whole continent to come into the United States. If he was a terrorist or he was involved in one way or another with terrorism, then it means FIFA as a whole is a terrorist organization. Because how could they move for a long period of time? Because to be one of the top African referees or in whichever continent referee, you must have gone through a lot of steps. So you mean he moved from his local league to the African continent as a whole, and no one was in a position to recognize that this person, in one way or another, he is engaged in terrorist activities. So this idea that Other countries send their wars into the United States, and most of the crimes which are done in the United States are by migrants. It's a complete lie, and that's why JD Vance was unable to defend Donald Trump. Finally, Donald Trump was on a media tour, and he is promoting his book, The Communion, or The Communion. And I believe JD Vance is trying to illustrate something. Before they joined office, they were learning on this idea that there were not going to be foreign interventions, they were not going to start new wars, they were going to make the living standards of an ordinary American to be decent, but that has completely failed. Within a short period of time, they have gone ahead and invaded a lot of countries, whether it is Cuba, which they are interested in, they are eyeing Greenland, they have done it in Venezuela, they have been they have been held by the balls in Iran. So JD Vance is trying to develop a different strategy, and I believe this time in 2028 he is going to use the Bible probably to try to enter into the White House. I would like your thoughts in the comment section. What is your thoughts about the response which JD Vance made concerning the statement of Donald Trump in 2015? As usual, if you have found value out of this video, subscribe, like, and also don't forget to share. That is it. Siku njema. See you in my next one.